Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very special video for you guys. I was randomly looking for some piano concertos and I just came across the newest Fazıl Say piano concerto. It's not that new, it actually premiered like late May, so I think it's been like a couple months or more, but I never heard of it, so I just thought it would be a good idea to kind of watch it together. I didn't watch it because I wanted to save it for the video, but I am very excited. I couldn't get a hold of the music yet, so I am just trying my best to kind of listen and try to see if I can catch on anything without even looking. I'm a very visual person, so I think it's gonna be challenging for me. I'm very used to having the music, especially in classical music, in order to really understand and be able to analyze it. So we'll see. But I thought it would be exciting to do a first reaction on this channel since I don't think I've ever have done one, but I've done one of the most iconic and famous Fazıl Say's works. In a video, we talked about it, we reacted to it, we analyzed it, and I showed some of the parts on the piano. And if you're interested, I'll put a link here. It's the Black Earths piece, so you probably know that if you know Fazıl Say. If you don't know Fazıl Say, he's one of the most celebrated and famous composers of like today's world. He's from Turkey. He tours all over the world. He's a great pianist, but a great composer as well. I really love the style of his works. I really love how he blends like Eastern and Western elements in his music. So they have some elements of classical music, the structure obviously, and then the use of piano, but the way that he kind of like goes beyond the limits on the instrument. It's not just piano, he has compositions for orchestra, violin, and voice, but the way that he goes beyond the normal techniques is really interesting to me. He tries to like imitate some of the traditional Turkish instruments in some of his works, including Black Earth, that I talked about it in that video. So make sure you go check out that video after this. I think I'm gonna split this into two videos. It's actually a piano concerto in 7 movements. It's inspired by nature, as I read about it, and it has like every movement has it's like a relationship to one part of the nature, like sea, river, forest, but the entire thing I think is also inspired by the 4 elements, and it's actually a wake-up call to all the things that are happening in our environment. I'm so excited to watch this video. First of all, I love his composition, but he's also playing here, so it's just double good. So without any further ado, let's go. So this is the prelude. The theme in the left hand, actually, I heard that he does some quotes from the work Black Earth, but I can also hear some of his other works in this. I mean, it makes sense because like composers usually have like a specific language or like a signature. So here, for example, the right hand is playing ba-da-dum, I think. Here ba-da-dum, but the left hand is doing ba-da-dum, I think, if I'm not mistaken about the notes. This is the quote, the big opening of Black Earth, ba-da-dum, and then it goes on and on. My God, I was so captivated. I could not I could not pause. I love the fact that it started with like a little bit of piano, but then when the orchestra started, the timpani got like kind of like building up more and more and more and more, and it kind of like is, to me, it's like a fear of something is coming, kind of like the whole, like the brass instruments, the way that the harmony was moving, because I don't know, maybe because I know that, okay, it's called a wake-up call to anything, but honestly, even if I didn't know that, I could feel the, like the anxiety or like the feeling of like something is wrong, something is coming up, but also it has like an epic feeling. It feels like, okay, for example, if like in ancient times when people were going to the war, like on their horses and then sword, I feel like that could be also the music for that. That kind of brought me that feeling. It's like a total different character from the beginning of it. Honestly, I have not been in orchestras a lot, but so I don't have a lot of experience like about conducting. I'm having a hard time realizing, like making sense of the rhythm. I'm guessing a lot of polyrhythms happening, but I don't get the beat of her conducting with the, for example, beat of the timpani and other percussions. And I'm sure the score is very complicated, so I'm interested to see like in what time signature she is conducting, and then everybody is like having their polyrhythm. It's so interesting. I love that when there are so many layers happening, which is very, very common in classical music. And the hardest thing about that is knowing instruments, like for example, the capabilities of each group of instrument or individual ones, and be able to write it in a way that they, for example, the strings and the brass, the horns, everything, or the timpanis, they don't overlap like balance wise. So you kind of have to know what kind of melody to, or the phrasing to write, what kind of dynamic, whatever. And then because now I could hear so many layers happening at the same time, but it was so easy for me to follow them. I mean, first of all, it's also because of how the conductor is really good, and then all the like the performer and the orchestra people, they're doing a great job in like balancing everything. But at the end of the day, it's also the composer's job to like kind of layer it out in the score in a way that that happens. And that was so easy. And this is my first time hearing. So usually for the first time hearing, I'm really confused about like, it's just overwhelming. But now I feel like I have a clear like line that, okay, this is happening in the strings, and then this is like a counterpoint melody happening in the brass. And I think it's a really good job like balancing them out. Also, I know it's 7 movement. I'm not sure if there is like a pause or if they're all attacca, which means like there's no pause, you just attach it to the next movement. So I have no idea what movement we are in. I know the first movement is the prelude, and the second movement I think is the forest. But so I don't know. I'm just gonna stop at 15 minutes and then split this video. But let's go. This might be the like the transition to the second movement. I'm not sure. Okay, this is a direct quote from Black Earth. Not direct, but like very similar. So before that, I think because this is a different character, again, I have no idea what movement is that, but in that section before that like instrument comes in, there was a lot of repetition in one theme, either when he was doing the chords here and then he was going back in the left hand to do that, while the other orchestral parts were doing different melodies. So that was like a part of like repeating pattern. He was changing it every single time a little bit, either with the dynamic, he was doing some like octaves here, but the main thing was the same. And then again with the part that he was playing, I have no idea, he actually changed the key. Instead of this part with the Black Earth, it starts on a G sharp, and then it goes, and then you play that part, but he changed that to starts at A, kind of like that. So anyway, it's a different key, and he was doing it again a lot of repeated patterns, either the motifs or little phrases that were happening, and that to me is always a very big signature of folk music, because that's like probably the main element in folk music. It has to be repetitive, and that's kind of like also, first of all, comforting, but at the same time, because of the structure of the folk music, one thing repeats and repeats and repeats, especially in, like, for example, lullabies. I don't think it's limited to any specific country or region. I think folk music is, in general, they have some common features that really like makes me like think about that, or combined with the fact that he was doing it inside the piano, which is again an imitation of like traditional instruments from Turkey. So now let's go on. So sorry to pause again, but so the beginning of that part with all the repeating thing and all the like kind of scary motifs, it reminded me of kind of like entering the forest or entering in a space that you don't know what's gonna happen. It's kind of scary, it's like intriguing, but at the same time, so many things can happen to you. And then this part with like the light, like with passages with that, and the kind of like the harmony is lightening up, and the register that he's using this part of the piano, which always like is more like brilliant and bright sound. I think it's like kind of like, okay, you just got to the forest, and then there are birds like singing, and then there's a river. It gives me that feeling that, oh, you have like a moment of like, this is so beautiful, and then something's gonna happen. So it's like I'm just picturing like a storyline to myself. I'm not sure that's the right interpretation though, but again, it's open for interpretation. But even in the harmony, you see there are some like weird sounds that are like, not everything is exactly perfect. There's some scary things. Again, I can hear, yeah, this instrument. I want to see what it is. I like that it's all like sound like classical music, kind of like Ravel. If you know a lot of his pieces, it kind of reminds me of Ravel has a piece. Forgot the name, but one of the movements, I can put it down. One of the movement is actually kind of like imitating a bird. A lot of composers kind of like played with the idea of like imitating the bird sounds, but it like specifically reminds me of a Ravel piece, especially with all the passages. But then you hear some like harmonic minors, which is like, again, like it's kind of like a peak to the east, I feel like. Like, so it's like that, a little bit of a difference, not totally like Ravel. Look at the huge organ they have. Oh my god, I would love to play that. So here the same motif started out with the strings first, so it was kind of like lighter, and then the timpani was added on, kind of like that motif, and then the brass adding. So it's like kind of like adding the intensity as layers as we go. And one of the ways to do that, obviously, is like keeping the same motif but changing the instrumentation or adding onto it. And I really love that because I like that something is like building and building and building very subtly, and then kind of like explodes, which happens a lot. But the way to do it is very important. I think it's like a perfect balance in everything. It's every line is clear. It's so interesting to listen to. We get to some new section. Oh my god, that part of violin is hard. Being able to make that sound like the harmonic, like, I don't know how do you call it in English, the technique in Persian. This motif repeated a lot actually from the first movement, the prelude. And let me actually double check the name of the movements for a second. Oh, okay, so the first one was prelude, the second one was earth, and the third one is forest. So I'm not sure if you're still in the forest or we switched to fourth movement, which is the interlude. But anyway, in all of these movements, bum, bum, kind of like that motif, repeating. That is like a kind of, I think, the main motifs that connects everything together, kind of ties everything together. I love the touch of always, like, I think it speaks to me because I am from that region. The scales that he's using, this interval, I'm not sure what melody he was using, but the interval of the augmented second in that place, which is like a part of the like melodic. So a lot of different like modes have that. A lot of different, like if you go to traditional musics of that region, that interval, I know it's kind of like not used with caution in classical music. It didn't really sound pleasant necessarily for that system of music, but that is really actually like a prominent like interval there. And whenever I hear that, it's like, oh, I don't I don't know if it's because I'm from that region. I don't know if it's also that interesting to you guys if you're not from that region. Let me know, like, do you like that kind of thing, or does it sound weird to you guys? But I love the touch of that every now and then in the melodies. I believe that this is the interlude. It sounds like one to me. Like a variation of the same motif. So I'm gonna stop it here because I feel like something big is gonna happen. It's been like 16 minutes or so. I believe that was the interlude. If you guys have heard this piece or know more about it, please like let me know about like how the movements work. It's so interesting that it's all like connected together, because that makes sense. It's like telling a big story. But that was very interesting. I can't wait to do the part 2 of that. Make sure you check out the other Fazıl Say video, or I have other videos. Make sure you check out my other playlist. I do also react and talk about other genres than classical music. So if you're interested, make sure you check out other videos. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with someone. Please let me know in the comments if you know more about this piece, or what do you like about it, what do you think about it so far, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.